Hello, Gypsy Spirit here with you, and we are still working on reverse. We're working on the page and the night in reverse. So let's take a look. We're starting with the page. Now remember, the 10 is the end of a chapter. We talked about that in the last video. So the 10 means the ending of something. So when you start seeing the page, that is a new beginning to a career move, relationship, financial, emotions, whatever the case may be. But so the Page of Swords, is very immature. They're like a kindergartner, I guess. It's like they're starting a new journey, and right now they're in kindergarten trying to figure it out. But the Page of Swords in upright, remember, they've got the scroll, they're there, and they're ready to go. They're ready to receive the clarity they need to move on. And in that scroll here is all the information, the instructions to the clarity. And as you can see, the clouds are starting to clear away, and they're ready for it. But when it's in reverse, their minds are still really foggy. I mean, this conflict is so new to them, something they've never experienced. The problem, what I see with this, and also in the night, is that say somebody that has a really hot temper, okay, and a conflict comes up, they're gonna just off the bat show their temperament, and that's when this card would be in reverse. It's like this person is not ready. They are not mature enough to deal with a conflict. They are going to deal with it in the way that they have always dealt with conflicts. And this is a problem, okay? So that's what the Page of Swords is all about. Again, with the Page of Pentacles now being in reverse. Now, remember, the Pentacles is money. So when we see it upright, it's like you can see that, like, maybe they made sandwiches in this picture, and they got a pot of gold or a bag of gold that they're holding, and the pentacle, and the rabbit is looking at the pentacle. It's like, he's got an idea, has an idea on how to make money, and maybe making sandwiches or whatever, selling these sandwiches. And it's like an aha moment. And the pentacle, with the with the Knight of Pentacles being in reverse, then it's telling me that there's a new opportunity in making money, but they hadn't figured it out. It's like the seed is there, maybe the concept is there, but they haven't quite figured it out how to make it work for them. And they're not thinking outside the box. They're still stuck in the box because they're still trying to figure out what exactly to do. There's an idea there, maybe, but their minds are not mature enough to try to move further. And maybe they need to talk to somebody or bring somebody else on with their idea to help receive the clarity, some clarity, or give them some inspiration. Because I feel like in this card, And see, if you look at it this way, it's like all of a sudden he's got inspiration, something new. But here it's like maybe he needs a little nudge or something, or somebody to put a firecracker up his butt or whatever. But yeah, he's just not. He's not ready. He's not there. The opportunity is there, but he's not. And maybe he needs to talk to somebody to help inspire him, give him inspiration. Page of Wands is exactly the same thing. If remember, he is on a desert and he hasn't been able to come up with anything for a while. You see he's thinking, but you see the wand, it's got some buds, so it's a little bit of growth. He's new at it and he's thinking about it, and he's trying to put it together. When I think about this, I think about like I have a 4-year-old grandson, and he's autistic and he doesn't talk. And I mean, he has therapy every day, speech therapy. And so he's just now learning to put some words together. And I just recently got to hear him say his first word that he really says that we can really understand is good. And so I think of my grandson in this way. He's very new. He's just learning, and he's thinking about words and how to put them together. And there's been some growth because now he's saying good. We know that there's going to be more words after that. But when this is in reverse, they're not able to put things together in regards to their work. It's like if you were sewing, if you were doing a sewing project and you didn't know how to sew, and you figure you're going to do it all on your own, but you really do need some help, and you're trying to figure out like the instructions to a pattern. When it's giving you instructions on how to do something, you have no clue what's going on. So it could be somebody that's like starting a job, or starting something new work-wise, and they have no clue as to what they're doing, what's going on. They've never done it before, and they are completely clueless on what to do. I mean, it reminds me of a time also when, and I'm not really good with secretarial kind of work, and I was going through one of those temp agencies, and they sent me on a secretarial job. I lasted the day. I had no clue what I was doing. They had to keep telling me, what to do and how to work the computer. This is like back in the 80s, when computers were just coming out. So, and I felt stupid because I knew that I didn't know anything. So that's what the Page of Wands in reverse is about. The Page of Cups, emotions, healing. When I see this in reverse, yes, it's a new journey to healing. It may be an event that took place in your life that you have never experienced, don't know how to deal with it, and don't really know the direction, what to go to or how to go about healing. When I see the page and also the Knight in reverse, it just always makes me think of somebody just not being mature enough to handle what's in front of them at that moment. And I remember a long time ago, I was really, this is like back in the 80s, and I was really upset about something. And a friend of mine said to me, God doesn't put any more in front of us than what we can handle. So at that time, this would have been perfect for me at that time, because it was something completely new that I was having to deal with and try to heal from. And I had never had anything like that happen to me before. I didn't know how to deal with it. I didn't know how to handle it emotionally or how to work through it so that I could heal. And so I was just stuck and so used to my old thoughts and my old behaviors and habits and how to deal with situations. And so again, when you see the page and also the knight in reverse, it tells you that this person has just not grown. They've had event after event in their lives, and from many of those events, based on the cards today, it will tell you that they have not grown. So this person here, when you see the cups in reverse, remember this is about emotions. Emotionally, this person is a train wreck, because they've never learned the lessons that they needed to learn from the past so that they could move on. And these, they're stuck. And again, as a healer, as a person that is working with them, there's a lot of things that you can do to help them heal. So that is the opportunity, the time to talk to them about that. Let's talk about the knight, because again, the knight is immature as well. He's not as immature as the page. He's been down this rodeo before, but let's see how he handles things. We have the Knight of Wands, where you're being warned and guided that this is about work. So you see the lion. The lion's very strong, and he's got his staff with him. It's been some growth. So yeah, he's got a little experience under his belt in this situation, whatever it is. But this card is a warning not to go just charging into something. Just because you have some experience in the situation, don't go flying into it. Sleep on it and think about it. But when you see this in reverse, oh yeah, they go charging right into it. And what happens is they jump so quickly. You think about a child who doesn't think about what they're doing. They'll just jump right at something immediately without thinking about it or thinking about the consequences. That's what the Knight of Wands is all about. It's like they got to stop and think about what they're doing, because in regards to work, every scenario is different, every situation is different, and just because they've got experience doesn't mean that they can slide right through this. Every situation is different. Every new journey, every new things, because remember, the page and the knight, we're still at a very beginning of a journey. So they need to sit back and look at their past experiences regarding the situation. Don't jump into it. Stop and take a minute to think about what exactly happened in the last situation. How could they have made things better? Because in the last situation, they went charging into it too. This situation, they're doing the same thing, so they're getting ready to make it, so there's going to be some red flags along the way, and they could avoid those red flags if they would just stop and think things through. So with the Knight of Cups, it's the same thing. And what's interesting is the knight is always on a horse. I see all the knight cards are on horses, and they're trotting very slowly. The Knight of Cups, he's trotting very slowly. He's got his cup out. This is a new journey for him. He's been down this way before. He knows he's got to take it slow because he's got the tools. He's got all the tools to get through it, but he doesn't want to miss anything, and he wants to completely heal. But with this in reverse, it's like his emotions, he's still stuck from the past, and it's going to be a long time before he can recover. With this card in reverse, whatever emotional setback he's had, he's not equipped enough to, he is equipped, but he's not seeing it. He doesn't see the forest through the trees. He is equipped because, again, God's not going to put anything in front of us that we can't handle. But because of his lack of growth from the past experiences, it's going to harm him, and he's going to go charging into this and not being able to mend his emotions. Whereas he's just going to have to repeat the process all over again with something else in the future, because you have to keep repeating over and over until you get it. I hope that the reverse is not too complicated for you. I remember when I first started reading tarot, it was a little complicated for me, and still is sometimes. And let me say this also. I may have said it in other videos, but there's a lot of times when I will do a spread, and the client will not tell me very much. They'll just tell me just a little, but I'll do the spread, and sometimes I have to sit for a couple of minutes, sometimes even up to 5 minutes, just to look at try to put it together. Because when you do a spread, it's like putting a puzzle together. And there are many times, that I don't read the cards in order. I'll jump all over the place because a card from the future is speaking out to me, and I'll read it, but then I'll jump over to a card that's maybe at the present or from the past. I'm all over the place, and what happens is, as you start putting the puzzle together with all the different cards, all over the place, then it's like the light bulb comes on, and you can come up with the situation and what you need to say. So it is a mystery. It is a puzzle. And again, I've said this many times, you just say whatever comes to you. You might be right, you might be wrong. 9 times out of 10, you're going to be right. And a lot of time, and I'm not the only one that does this. I have a dear friend who, to me, he's probably one of the best tarot readers here in Charleston. But one day we were reading for somebody, and he was reading for somebody, and I was shaking my head, yeah. And he told me, he said that he was really glad that I was shaking my head, because it gave him affirmation that he was on the right track. So even the best of the best sometimes question themselves. I had to learn a long time ago no longer to question myself. No longer. If something pops into my head, a name or a date or somebody or a person pops into my head, and I see the clothes they're wearing or whatever, it just comes out, because that never happens, unless I'm reading for somebody. So obviously there's a reason for it. So don't be afraid. Do not. And the more you learn to trust that, the more you learn to trust that voice or that image that you see in your mind or whatever, the more you trust it, the more you the more it will work with you. So I hope that makes sense. Um, so I've learned that if something comes to me, I just say it. I had a lady not too long ago. I was reading for her. And I told her, your husband doesn't have a lot long to live. He's gonna die soon. And she said, yeah, I kind of already know that. So, but that's what had come to me. I didn't want to tell her that. And I was, sometimes when you hear something, that voice or whatever, says something, it's your higher divine connecting with your higher divine. And that's really what that is. When you hear that voice or you see that image, your higher divine is connecting with your higher divine. And so there's a lot of times when I hear something and I'm saying to myself, or I'm saying to my higher divine, I'm not going to tell her that, that's terrible. But she needs to know. And there's a reason why you're hearing this, because your higher divine is giving you this information that this person needs to know. So, don't be afraid. Just don't be afraid. Knight of Swords. Again, a conflict. This person is used to dealing with conflict, charging into something, and they're being warned, don't handle this conflict in the way that you have in the past. This is a test. I seem to be getting tested a lot here this past week over conflict. And this card is telling me that this person is not paying attention. This person, if they're hot-tempered or whatever, they're handling this conflict in the way that they've handled it all the time in the past. And this is a time in learning to grow. This is a growth lesson, a lesson in teaching you how to deal with conflict and getting your way, and handling it in a way where you're going to come out as a winner. But if you go charging into it like you have in the past, if you go charging into it as you have in the past, then you're going to lose in the situation. And also, in a conflict, we tend to look at there's two sides to every story, so we don't always, if we're in the middle of a conflict, we're just looking at our side. We're not looking at the other person's side too. So in this, when it's being in reverse, it's telling me that there's two sides to the story, and this person needs to just sit back and look at the whole picture and try to work through this conflict as peacefully and calmly, in a way where they will end up as a winner, or they'll end up on top, and you really want everybody to be on top, and you want to do it fairly. So that's when I see this card in reverse, they're not doing that. They're just, like flying off the handle, doing what they normally do. Knight of Pentacles. I love this card. All right. He's got the idea, he's got the tools, but he's stuck in the mud here. Just kind of stuck in the mud, trying to figure it out. But when I see this in reverse, when I see it in reverse, I see it because if you look at it this way, he's stuck in the mud. But when I see it in reverse, when we've talked about this before, you have to use your intuition. You could read this either way, depending on the rest of the cards. But I see this as he's got the idea and making money. He's got all the tools and everything. And he's starting to get out of the mud. It's the problem with this card is, again, he's, whatever the situation that he is in financially, it's not his first rodeo. He's done this before. He's been in this situation before. But now he's got to figure out a different way to get out of it, to be able to move forward. So again, this is a new journey. So there's something new to it and a new opportunity, and he's got to look at it, because if he continues to stay stuck, it's going to be the same situation that it's been in the past. And every event that happens in our life, we want to grow from it. We want to move forward and see where it takes us into the next, the next place in our life. So that's how I see that the Knight of Pentacles is, they've got the tools. They've got all the, because they've been through it before. But now it's like, let's start thinking outside the box so that we can, because things aren't always, things are constantly changing, evolving. And so it kind of reminds me a little bit of myself, because I'm very old school and I don't like to do anything new, or try things new. My kids are trying to tell me that I need to get into this crypto or whatever, and I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. But a lot that they're right, and some of the things they're telling me, but it's because of my fear and the fact that I don't understand those things. Do I really want to learn it? And that holds me back. So that could be your person in the Knight of Pentacles. It's like there's something new they need to learn to grow their finances, but they're so stuck from doing things the way they've always done in the past, they're not willing to look at something new to help them. So that's your Knight of Pentacles in reverse. So I hope this helps. Again, if you have any questions or anything, text me or leave me a voicemail, email me, whatever. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.